It was just a normal lunch. Extended family's there. They're celebrating something. It's all going well until the grandma starts choking. Everybody gets concerned when people choke, man. It's just a natural reaction. I don't know if there's anybody out there who doesn't get worried when somebody can't breathe. She can't clear it. She's coughing, she can't clear it. The lady's like 90 years old. So her son walks up to her, stands her up, stands behind her, grabs her by the belly and starts squeezing living lights out of her. Eventually she clears this obstruction that she has. But her condition doesn't improve much afterwards. Yeah, sure, she can breathe. But now she's got chest pain. She's still short of breath. And she's losing her color. She looks unwell. So they call an ambulance. Ambulance comes, picks her up, brings her to us. We assess her, and on the x-ray we can see exactly what's happened. She has several broken ribs. And one of these ribs has penetrated her lung. So now she's got a blown lung and a bunch of broken ribs. If somebody's choking, there used to be a normal to kind of do this maneuver called the Heimlich maneuver, which is basically exactly how I explained it. You walk up to somebody from the back, grab them by the belly and squeeze the living lights out of them several times, with the hope that you're going to generate so much intra-abdominal pressure, kind of like a lifting belt on steroids, right? You're squeezing living lights out of them to generate this pressure, to have this pressure push on this obstruction and get the obstruction clear. That used to be the normal. But now we've moved away from that type of first stage for choking. Now what we do is we walk up to the person choking, put a hand on them, make sure they understand that there's somebody with them. I don't know if there's anything more scary than choking alone. You know, not having anybody around. That's pretty frightening. I mean, that thoughts of death are probably really close by somebody's mind. Put a hand on them and make sure they understand they're there, and encourage them to cough. Encourage them to cough. If they can't seem to clear the obstruction, you can give them 5 blows in between their shoulder blades, you know, in an upward kind of motion with the palm of your hand. If that still doesn't work and the condition seems to be getting worse, call an ambulance. That's all you can do. If the person becomes unresponsive, commence your basic life support, first aid. Basic life. So if you got advanced life support, that's great, but you know, not a lot of people have advanced life skills, a lot of advanced life support skills. And then, you know, you just go from there. But we don't do this Heimlich maneuver anymore because of this risk of causing more damage than good. It's probably a really effective maneuver. It's just out in the community, people grab the ribs and they fracture ribs. And like I said, those ribs can then penetrate the lung, and all of a sudden you have a blocked airway with a blown lung. Now you've freaking made a disaster. This lady, you know, was 90 years old, frail, small. She was about 40 kilos, soaking wet, probably. We had to put a tube in this lung, and it's like a little machine or a little device that we use in the hospital called an underwater seal drainage, which basically reinflates the lung over time. Each breath they take, it's kind of like a system that reinflates the lung, and then and then eventually the lung will heal itself, and then you'll have a proper lung. But the pneumothorax, or a blown lung, is a very serious condition, and depending on the size of the blown lung and how severe it is, people die from that, right? The pressure outside the lung becomes so great that it starts to push everything across, and basically you have tension pneumothorax, and people die from that. But this whole thing, the reason I'm telling you all of this is because it got me thinking afterwards about bone density. This lady's 90, clearly postmenopausal, right? And we know postmenopausal women, they have a sudden drop in bone density. Men as well, testosterone dips, bone density drops, and we become brittle. Well, our bones become brittle, and it kind of got me thinking about bones. Like, out of all the things that I've tested, in my life, I haven't been to the hospital, knock on wood, many times, but I've had blood tests, I've had x-rays for the ankles, I've even had a chest x-ray at one point in time. And kind of makes me think, I would love to do a bone density scan to see what this training has done to my skeletal system. We talk about bones, ligaments, tendons, all this sort of stuff, central nervous system, but no one ever talks about bone. Bone. I'm sure our bones, the guys that train, are better than people that don't train. And then the next step is, how much does that bone density play a role to the central nervous system, to the strength? Maybe the central nervous system is like, wow, this femur is really, really strong. We can allow even more force to be put through these muscles because we're safe. That's exactly what the central nervous system does. It's a whole bunch of sensors around the place, making sure we are good. I would love to test my bone density just to see what's going on, because I reckon that's one thing that's vastly different to the normal Joe walking on the street. I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.